More fun.
Hello, are you here to debate?
Yes, I am.
All right. What's your name, age, and pronouns, please?
All right. My name is John. I'm 22, and he, him.
He, him. Okay, John, 22, he, him. You're on right now with Jimmy and Jovan. What topic on the board do you want to debate about today?
I want to debate God is not evil.
Okay, you think God is not evil, huh? Okay, tell us why.
Correct. Well, there's a multitude of reasons why, but I just want to start out with, why do you think he is evil?
Because he allows for unnecessary suffering of millions of beings.
That is a great point. Oh, there's somebody talking.
I was just going to add that, like, whichever moral system you pick, whether it's the Christian moral system of how good what we would evaluate a good human to be like, or if you go with the secular humanist version, which actually prioritizes the well-being of humans, and so we're calling that which is evil that which is anti-humanist. Either way, you can make the case easily that he fails to meet his own standards or ours.
Okay. Yes. So the thing is about, unnecessary suffering and stuff like that. And while I agree that it's bad, it really is bad, and I hate seeing it on the news and all that stuff, it isn't under God's control. He gave us all free will to do our own choices. And it's basically like there's no, think of it like if you go to school and there's no rules, the only thing that's stopping you is when you go home to your parents. That's the similar way. It's like us, we have full control of what we can do, but at the end of our lives, it all comes kind of back to haunt us. So that's kind of what we are taught.
Who gave a baby cancer? And by the way, I don't usually argue on the suffering point at all, but the things you're saying doesn't make sense. First of all, you've said that he gives us all free will. We know that's not true. In the Bible, Pharaoh was actually going to let the slaves go, and then God hardened his heart so that he wouldn't, so then they could follow with all the crazy shit that happened. That's literally like if you're defending the biblical God, Exodus would disagree with you that we have free will. But then that the suffering is a result of the free will implies that suffering comes specifically from the suffering that humans impose on other humans, which he doesn't interfere with. Fine. I'm still confused about the cancers, the parasites, the neurological diseases, depression. I'm the things that aren't necessarily a result of what other people have done to each other. But in fact are just the lot in life you end up with from God's design, seemingly with no one to blame, but whatever caused the assembly of your body and genetics.
Right. So when you said parasites and diseases and stuff like that, those are physical, biological things. So bacteria, things, self-organism, parasites, stuff like that. Right. But when we're talking about depression and stuff like that, the thing is that, we've come a long way since, throwing sticks at an elephant, stuff like that. We live in, infant structures. We're super crowded with sometimes thousands of humans all around us. And our minds and our bodies are just there. And sometimes, there's boundaries that get overcrossed. That's how depression is formed, social
that's not how depression has multiple sources, some of which is genetic and some of which, no matter who you are and what you're born into and what you have access to or whatever, you are going to have outrageous depression. For example, bipolar disorder has a major genetic link. It wouldn't matter whether or not we were throwing elephants at sticks, but at the end of the day, you're still describing a God, if you're again going with the biblical God, who knows the whole future, but only prepared our brains in his intelligent design for throwing sticks at elephants, as you so eloquently put it.
Sorry. Yeah. And the thing is you were absolutely correct about depression. I was just talking about a form of depression that I was saying.
Right.
But God
Quite
always
like
has
the
a
suffering
has a
before,
plan
you're being
for
myopic to
everybody.
examples that support
sorry.
your thing and ignoring the other ones.
Sorry, I'm sorry. But basically, we all have our role. We all have our own fate in what we're going to do with our lives. And God gave us that, choice, that plan. He has a whole plan for all of us to go through. And whether that be, what you say is we don't have a choice, or what I say that we do have a choice, it's all one big plan. Everything happens for a reason or otherwise.
Wait, what would be the reason? Just confirming. Or actually, let me ask you this. Is any reason justification for unnecessary suffering? Is there any reason that can be justification, for instance, of babies getting cancer? Is there any justification for that?
Okay, so cancer is when your blood cells go rogue, and that's a biological thing that happens. But when suffering is applied, sometimes when suffering is applied, people that come out end up stronger. While it is upsetting that people don't survive cancer and all this unnecessary all this unnecessary suffering, but what happens is when they do succumb to it, they are guaranteed a spot in heaven because of their hopeful faith in God or Jesus.
Okay, so a baby that's I just want to confirm the reason why babies get cancer is so that their parents come out stronger?
No.
Then why
but he's saying it doesn't matter because they get guaranteed heaven, even though there's nothing biblical about saying babies get guaranteed heaven. And I still fail to see that that's even established that they have faith when I think of the example of children born with the malformity of not having kidneys, so their blood backs up into their lungs. There's nothing you can do for them except either abort them prior to them coming out so that they don't have to just suffer and drown on the table, which, by the way, that's basically what late-term abortions actually are and what Republicans want to stop. They don't want you to peacefully put that child to sleep. They want the child to have to come out and suffer. But I digress. They're born without kidneys causes them to just drown in front of their mothers or the doctors on their own blood and die. No way to prevent it, no way to stop it. They always die. So they have been alive in the real world for seconds only to suffer. But because they hold faith in God, they're automatically going to heaven, even though they have no concepts of anything, let alone faith.
Yes, that is exact. It sucks, but that ends up happening. Those children had no time to, believe in a God or commit a sin. Therefore, they both kind of cancel each other out. And regardless,
where is that in the Bible?
They will go to heaven. Well, you go.
But where is that in the Bible that children that died? Because I can find a lot of precedent for that suffering is the result of the sins of their parents, and sort of the implication that their parents were so sinful they suffered, and then they both are going to end up condemned, or end up in a peasant class, or end up that usually these negative things means that there's something wrong, not that it's natural. So where in the Bible does it say what you're saying, that it has to do with that if a baby dies suffering like that with no ability to conceptualize faith, they automatically go to heaven? I'd love to know where that comes in.
All right, so because they didn't. Oh, did you say something?
I just asked, or are you a Mormon? But go on.
Oh no, Catholic. But basically they didn't have time to sin, so they don't have any form of debts or stuff they had to regret and repent for. Therefore, they don't have to go through judgment. They go to heaven because they have nothing bad on them.
But judgment doesn't just include your sins; it includes whether you have faith in Jesus.
I also just want to. Do you believe that God is an all good being?
All powerful and all good, yes.
So an all good being set up a universe in which babies get these horrible, uncurable diseases, go through unimaginable pain, and die. And that seems like an all good being to you.
All right. So here's the thing. Remember when I said about free will that he gave to everybody, right?
Diseases
so everything
don't
that
have free will.
happens,
And again, he didn't.
is the result or choice of another sort of being. So when early humans and throughout generations, mutations happen, and there's nothing he can do to stop that because he cannot interfere. He gave us that choice.
He interferes all the time.
Will.
What are you talking about? He interferes constantly.
According to the book, he interferes all the time.
I'm sorry. Just a quick question. Is God killing all of the firstborn Egyptians not him interfering to coerce them into doing something he wants them to do?
When he didn't stop, the killing of those babies in Egypt.
He didn't. No, it's not that he didn't stop it. He caused it.
Oh, good. Sorry. Say that again. My phone cut out. I have
It's
bad
not
service.
that he didn't stop it from happening. He caused it to happen. He said, if you paint your doors red, I won't kill your firstborn. But if you don't paint the handle red I think it was in like goat's blood, I'm killing your firstborn. That was him. That was a him decision.
And by the way, before that happened, the thing I told you about happened before that. He hardened the heart of Pharaoh. Pharaoh was going to let the slaves go. Pharaoh was empathetic to Moses's plight. He was going to let him go. In Exodus, I think it's chapter 7. It might be chapter 4. In Exodus 7 or 4, it says that he was going to, and his heart gets hardened. So that's why God hardens the heart of Pharaoh to not let them go. And so then later, to further scare Pharaoh into letting him go, which he was the reason he didn't let him go in the first place, he does the plagues, including killing the firstborn sons. So literally, it's not even just the like fucked upness of this that he's causing it. It's also that he took away, you call it free will, which is crazy in the first place. He completely took away Pharaoh's free will and hardened his heart against it.
All right, that would be an amazing, great point. But I request that can you find the exact verse and then read it out to me where it says those exact words, please.
Sure. And so you will admit that God is evil if my words are correct, right?
No. Still.
Then why should I read? No. If it explicitly says God hardened the heart so he won't let the people go, you won't admit you're wrong. So even if I have that exact verse for you, it doesn't matter. You are dishonest.
Hold on. Let's first find out if that verse is there.
We don't need to
and we'll go on from there.
Yeah,
if it says that explicitly, no, it's 421 is the one you really want. But before you read it, if it explicitly says it, will you admit you were wrong? And you're saying already no. And by the way, it will not be. I'm telling you, it is going to be explicit what you see. And yet it's not going to matter to your point. So it's funny that I have to read it. I now will, but we've exposed for what we are exposing your dishonesty. This is Exodus 4:20. Bothered to read your book. The Lord said to Moses, when you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do. But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. That is the gosh darn verse.
All right. What is the verse before?
It's amazing. It's fucking amazing that you think that should matter.
Context is always important in any situation.
Well, I'm sorry.
What more context could there be? Situation.
John, what more context could there be than God said, go back to Egypt, and see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do, but I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. What more context is there?
By the way, I'm willing to answer it because I just remembered that your point even worse. So just so you know, I will read them before, but you're actually going to dig into a deeper hole. Because the verse 19 before it is, now the Lord said to Moses and Midian, go back to Egypt, for all those who wanted to kill you are dead. So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey and started back to Egypt, and he took the staff of God in his hand. What God literally just said is, hey, all the people who are against you leaving, taking the people, they're actually dead now. If you go back, you will face no opposition, but I will make you opposition. I will take Pharaoh's heart and I will harden it. And once his heart is hardened, then threaten his firstborn son. Because that's the next verse. It's I will harden his heart so he will not let the people go. Verse 22, then say to Pharaoh, this is what the Lord says, Israel is my firstborn son. 23, and I told you, let my son go so he may worship me, but you refuse to let him go, so I will kill your firstborn son. So I will harden his heart and make it so he won't do it. And then as a result of him not doing it, I'll kill his firstborn son. How many more verses would you like? Because I can't imagine they're either going to do nothing for your point or make it even worse. I hope you're pulling out your Bible.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have nothing to say about that would either be very, against what I was trying to say before, or would just prove you guys right. So right now, I have nothing to say about that.
What did you
so
then,
I'm going to say that you guys are right. You guys are right,
and you're wrong. That would be the more honest. I don't need to hear I'm right. I'd like you to acknowledge that your understanding of free will and morality and God was wrong. And so you're going to go and you're going to research that, and you're going to do so in a balanced way and not just go, let's find if somebody has some apologetics to answer this, because any answer will put me back on the path, and I'm not going to investigate whether the answer is good until I call back in again and find out why that specific apologetic breaks down. You're going to do all that work yourself is what I would want to hear.
I think the thing that I would like to say right now is I do like, pull out my Bible and, study all this stuff. And there are, things like that, really do make, me think a little bit. But at the end of the kind of thing, God being evil and stuff like that, it all comes down to what you believe is good and evil. And while I think some things that he does are a little bit, shady and bad, and I have nothing to disclose about that, I will, in fact, go out and try and look at it and see what it really is.
Sure. And maybe you should consider in your options the alternative that the reason why you're wrong is that the book doesn't make sense, and that if a God exists, it's clearly not the biblical God. Because here's the good news. It isn't the biblical God. Moses didn't exist at all. We are discussing about a character that is given, but we now know historically, I imagine even the Catholic Church at this point has to accept that the story of Moses is merely a story, since they've had to accept that Adam and Eve are a metaphor and not literal people who ever existed and the like. Otherwise, they just become so anti-scientific. The good news is these creatures, you don't have to worry about as much whether God is evil as you do as whether he exists at all. And I think the more you try to prove he exists to you, which was how I lost my faith, the more you go on that journey to prove your faith valid, the more you will discover it is not.
The thing is that even though, I'm Catholic and, I believe in what my religion is, it's always the Old Testament that's always so confusing and all that stuff. And especially Adam and Eve, I believe in both evolution and a God. And, believing in a God really kind of reassures me about, an afterlife, and that, even the Big Bang is a little bit weird and mysterious. So it always kind of helps, fill in the gaps where stuff just doesn't make sense, if that makes sense.
Do you know what the phrase God of the gaps means?
yes, I actually do know what that phrase means. Where
You
in which
understand it's
there is
relative,
no
right?
scientific frontier in a part of science that is mysterious. That's usually where religion puts a god.
And you understand that we use that as a derogatory statement, essentially, right? That it's not a positive thing to believe in the God of the gaps, because if we had always believed in the God of the gaps, we'd still be thinking thunder was because of the gays.
Right. And I'm not saying like, oh, there's a mysterious black hole that must be God. It's more like, creation. Like
Did.
I believe that everything that happened, like the Big Bang, evolution, all this stuff, all of that happened. Every single bit of history, like dinosaurs and all that stuff, everything happened.
Right.
But that one singularity that came out was God putting it there to let everything else happen.
What a wild change in standard.
Because
the reason we both believe in evolution, dinosaurs and everything is this mountain of evidence, so much evidence, it's overwhelming and you can't help but accept it. And then you switch standards for but this one unanswered question, that's God, but I don't have an ounce of that same amount of evidence, and yet I'm broadcasting somewhat an equal level of confidence.
Funny thing about dinosaurs. I'm studying to become a paleontologist, but it's
good. You're on your way.
But
to
it doesn't. It's all good. Yeah, but just because you believe in what, just because you're studying and learning about one thing doesn't mean you can't learn about another thing.
Obviously, evolution.
You can believe. Actually, not proven evolution. But also, you can direct your other attention to stuff that has no evidence. That's why it's called a faith. Something that you put your belief into, even if it doesn't exist. That's where I put my belief into a God.
And you shouldn't. You can have faith, and I can put a watermelon in my butt, but it's going to have devastating consequences either way.
I guess I got nothing to say about that.
Jesus.
I was visualizing it. I was like, anyway, deep.
John, I hope you call Jovan back when I'm on, or other places you find Jovan. I don't know if it's weird to be like, I hope you call our show sometimes too, but you at least seem to be you're a more honest caller than I'm used to talking to at your age and with your religious background, and that's at least nice.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, with my religion, it's always, one of the commandments is, forgive those who have sinned against you. And while I don't believe you guys sinned against me, do not get that wrong. It's always nice to just be kind, even if you're doing stuff like this, or even the people that don't believe what you're saying. It's always nice to be kind and have an open mind to what they're saying.
I find it's easy as long as they don't lie and interrupt a lot,
Yeah. I find it super annoying when I'm trying to talk and then like somebody's like, actually, in the middle of my sentence.
Oh, I can do that. That's for sure. I'm capable of. I'm actually.
We're all capable of it, but I just try not to do it.
I definitely interrupt a lot of gish gallops. I just find it more efficient to break down at the exact moment things go bad. Anyway, I've been like monopolizing this call. I hope it's mostly that Jovan is actually annoyed at his sound thing where he has to hear his own voice when he puts his live. But
it's half that and half I'm changing stuff on the stream, so half of it is that.
But then I also know half of it is that I'm annoying, and we're up to 3 halves, and it doesn't make sense. That's not how math works. Anyway, I'm done with John. I think John's done. Did you have?
No. John, thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree with us that God is evil.
I don't think after this debate I'm going to change anything in my beliefs. I am happy that you guys were like the nicest debate team I've called yet.
That's crazy to hear someone say that about Jimmy Snow. That is actually insane.
Never been accused of that
I called
once.
another group and another person, and they just interrupted me every 5 seconds.
Still
It
crazy
was
to hear
crazy.
you say that about Jimmy Smith.
Was it me on another channel? Because that sounds usually more like what I get accused of.
All right. See you guys. Thank you for the debate.
Yeah.
All right,
I
you
hope
have
you guys
a
have a
good one
wonderful
there, John. You have a good one.
Later, John. I thought he was gonna out.
Thank you guys for watching, and shout out to my YouTube members. Their names appear on the side. Membership starts at $2.99 and gets you access to early videos, uncensored videos, and members-only content. Also, shout out to Tier 4 members, Bamji, Matthew Holloway, Vampy, Kelsey Dooley, Kelsey K, Jake, Marceline, and Yemye. Tier 4 members get to help choose debate topics, and their contributions go a long way to helping me create higher quality content for all of you. Remember to subscribe for your daily dose of leftist debates, and I'll see you in the next video.